the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Did we hit the button? Did we start?
We did.
Oh, you did, yeah. So I can't really...
No, you can't. You are forbidden.
I'm forbidden.
You're verboten.
Verboten?
You're forbidden. From Duden.
No.
We have... So,
I
can't wait for the
We gotta
sound.
adjust the microphone. No, this is my fault. This is my positioning of it. I did that. This is on me.
You keep thinking I'm a short girl.
I can't tell that you're not a short girl.
So right now, just to explain, listener, what's happening. Veronica had to do some things while we were having our lunch. So she's just now able to break for lunch. So we decided instead of having her join us on the podcast, we would let her just sit and eat and enjoy her lunch while we did the show. But we're going to put the microphone right up next to where she's eating. So during this show, you're going to hear the sounds of Veronica enjoying her meal as kind of an ASMR thing. It's kind of like learn a little thing and enjoy a little thing. And I think once you hear today's subject, you're going to be like, this is it. This is it. This is the show. This is the one that will win them all the awards.
The moment that you've all been waiting for.
You've been waiting for this moment all your
Way
life.
to vamp while I was running around doing microphone work.
This isn't my
terrific.
first rodeo. It's my last rodeo.
And I just want to, first of all, I wanted to say to everybody in the Rodeo Society of Middle Central Pasadena that Jacob Givens has brought to rodeo what John Wayne brought to air travel.
Thank you.
Which is basically the naming of an airport.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So when it comes to rodeos, a lot have been named after me.
Yeah, absolutely.
For no reason.
For no particular
I've never been a rodeo cowboy ever.
No.
But they just... When they were building them, they're like, "What should we call this place?"
It's actually funny that you always say this isn't my first rodeo, but it is my last rodeo because you've actually it would had we been doing a rodeo, it would have actually been your first rodeo.
It would have been my first rodeo. It's true. Yeah, very true. Very true. Oh, listen to that! You can already hear
There's the ASMR we're looking for.
the rapper unfolding.
Yes, no, it's gonna be fascinating.
Yeah,
because
it really
Veronica's
will.
trying to do three things at once.
She is. She's trying to catch up on emails,
Catch up on
eat a
emails,
sandwich,
yes.
and be on a podcast.
Yes. Well, we make her do too much.
We do.
That's how we keep things working around here.
Keep it real.
While you and I are slacking off.
Oh yeah.
Just talking to people
I just
on a
woke
podcast.
up. I just woke up.
I'm not even here.
Hi, Daddy.
I haven't even arrived.
Woke you up, Jacob.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
She
it's
even
true.
wakes us up.
That's true. What I love that she actually went for this idea, because I think the Ronnie of a little while ago would have been absolutely refused.
Like,
But the
no
fact
way.
that she was like, you know what? Why not? Put me on the mic with my sandwich. I don't care.
Look at who I'm with 5 days out of the week.
That's true.
I know,
That's
it's
true.
true.
That's true. We've started to influence this entertainer bug. Now she wants to have a show where she eats sandwiches.
Trying to wonder, are we good influence or bad? Like, has she become better or bad?
I'm gonna go
worse.
with D. All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above. D is good and bad.
Yeah.
And ugly.
What's C?
I don't know. Never choose C.
Never
Never. Always choose C.
Although I was told when you're doing your SATs and you get to the end and you're not fast enough to finish because you have a slow mind like I do, that you just answer all C.
Really? Is that the best odds of the four
best
letters?
odds. I don't think it's true. I think it's just something that people say.
Do not take that advice from no kids taking your tests right now.
No, be prepared.
Be prepared. Just study.
Instead, be prepared.
That
for
is
your
the
SAT.
second time we talked about the ACTs and SATs this week. We were talking about them yesterday. I think it's funny that. Well, it's coming up because our children are at the age where they're going to have to start taking them.
Yeah,
So.
Jaden's has taken them and has got to do one more. She's doing one more in a couple weeks.
Oh, boy.
There's a whole thing going on right now because
Testing.
there's a gymnastics showcase the same day as the SATs.
Oh.
Every single time she's had to take an SAT, there has been some kind of gymnastic event. Every time.
It's like the gymnastics don't want her to learn.
Which is the weirdest thing.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a good
a good thing.
It's a good collegiate sport. It's a good
gotta-
educational sport. I don't understand why they
got to
hate.
sort out their academic.
I don't know why they hate college testing, standardized testing so much.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sort it out, gymnastics. Jim. That's a guy. Gymnastics.
Yeah. James Nastics.
James Nastics. He started it all.
Hi there.
James
My name
Nastics.
is James Pauline Gymnastics.
You can call me Jim. I was about to do the other name that we came up that was the handshake one, but I realized I can't do that one on the
Can't do
show.
that one in public. Just like we can't do the conversation that we were just talking about. There's so many good biofriendly after dark moments that you're all missing out on.
Missing on our adult themed.
You know who doesn't miss out on them? Veronica.
She gets to hear it all.
That's why she's a little bit worse, but a little bit better.
Yeah, that's
a little
why.
But a little bit worse.
She's a little worse, a little better.
All the above.
Well, with that, because everybody has so much going on this week, it is a busy week, so we're going to
call it. Thank you for
thank you
listening
so much.
to the podcast.
Hope you enjoyed this. This has been Veronica eating a sandwich and Jacob and Noel vamping.
Yeah. We'll see you all next week on the next Biofriendly Podcast. We have been your what? No, not yet.
No, not yet. I do wonder if you can hear there is a sense of calm in you and I, and you want to know why.
Why?
We rarely record after we've eaten lunch.
Oh.
And
so we got the slamage.
Yeah, so whatever happens, whenever
action.
we record in the morning. We've had coffee, we're kind of feeling peppy. We got a zip, you know? But when you have lunch, right after you're done eating your lunch, you're kind of like a little bit calmer. And I'm feeling much more calm, a little mellow. My body's digesting the delicious salad that I just had.
We also hotbox the bathroom.
Yeah. Yes. Hotbox is a new portable lunch. It's sustainably made. It's like Lunchables, but it's called Hotbox.
Hotbox.
That would be a great company that did
Sustainable Lunchables.
that wouldn't understand when they named their brand that they didn't know.
Yeah.
Like they thought they were being clever. Like it's the new.
It's the Hotbox.
It's the Hotbox.
Yeah.
A bunch of people standing in line like, we're here for the Hotbox. All right, we're gonna jump in.
Let's wait no longer.
Okay.
We will tolerate no more waiting.
I think it's a good subject for after a meal.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Please.
Wine.
Oh.
Wine.
Have we talked about wine yet on the show?
Never.
We've never talked about wine.
Never talked about wine. Yep. So I saw an article, and there was this one little excerpt that it just made me laugh of this story, and I'm going to get to that in a moment.
Okay.
But I have three things, basically, and I try not to overdo it with what I bring into the show. But we've covered beer in the past, but when I saw this about wine, there were three things that I saw. One is, obviously, the planet's temperature is changing, and wine is being affected by it.
Okay.
Okay, that's one, which is a little bit of a bummer. And
In
also
a negative or positive way?
both.
Really?
In a very weird way.
Okay.
And then two, I wanted to share this story about like what this one company was doing where there's this quote that made me laugh out loud because I was like, that's hilarious. And then three, I went to our very own Biofriendly Planet and found an amazing article from us.
What?
About the different kinds of wine certifications.
What?
And I was like, we're going to share it.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing,
You're
right?
telling me that Biofriendly Planet already covered this topic?
We already covered this topic, so we're giving them an audio version.
Well,
of
then let's just,
dig
again,
in.
every time this happens, we got to raise the roof for Tara and team.
Yeah, Tara and team. Tara, our editor-in-chief, is amazing as always, and she finds the best writers and writes the best stuff, and it gets it on our site. And if you're not going to Biofriendly Planet every day, what's wrong with you?
Then you're the idiot.
Then you're the moron. Okay,
That's how we like to talk to our audience. In case you're wondering. Yeah.
Wait. We have a new tag at the end. Which is the one which is let us do it, we teach it better, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, so I hope you have it written down.
Yeah.
By the way, Ronnie, you keep looking at us like you got to tell me something, or is there like a sound? You kind of like sat up all of a sudden,
Oh,
like.
sorry, yes, because I started printing and I heard the printer.
The
well.
printer.
I
Well,
wanted
look.
to interrupt the
Look.
audio.
Fine.
Veronica is going to work. She's, Ronnie's going to Ronnie. That's what we say.
Ronnie's
around here.
gonna Ronnie.
Ronnie's going to Ronnie. So she's going to be working. And so we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what kind of noises are going to occur. We don't know how, we don't.
There's sandwiches, there's printers.
Sandwiches, printers.
There could be anything.
There's going to be clicking on keyboards.
all sorts of fun.
Drinking
fun
of bubbly.
I hope she pours a
liquids.
glass of wine.
Yeah.
So this
Do
is.
we have them?
We should get some.
We don't have wine. We have hot boxes.
We have. Could I interest you in a hot box?
Yes, please.
We have a really cool wine store not too far away from here, so just letting you know that when we get to Friday, might be wine time.
Wine time.
Happy hour at the end of the workday.
I love it.
All right, so we'll start out with a little bit of obviously the planet's getting hotter, and that is negatively impacting some wines, but in some cases it's actually helping the wines, and this is
Okay.
what's so interesting. Are you ready for this?
Jacob,
What?
I just
What'd I do?
yawned. I tried not to yawn, but I just it was.
Did you do the clenched mouth yawn where it was
God.
like...
Oh, it was so funny. And then I must have had a guilty look on my face because Veronica was looking at me like, "What are you hiding?"
He's hiding yawns.
Yeah, she's like, "What is wrong with you? Why do you look gassy?" And it was, I yawned. We did just. This is the post sandwich podcast.
It's tough. So listeners, bear with us. This is not normally what we do. We don't normally record after we've fed our bellies with nice, healthy, good lunches. They were good
goodness.
lunches, but it's the nature of having some. There it goes again.
Twice.
All right, pour yourself here. Hey, everybody. Pour yourself a glass of wine.
Pour yourself a glass of wine.
Let's NPR this for a minute. Let's
enjoy
talk a little bit, okay? So climate change is rapidly altering wine as we know it.
Oh my God.
What does this have to do with what's in your glass?
What does
Climate
that have to do
change,
with what's in my
right?
glass?
Okay. Wine is first and foremost an agricultural product. Obviously, it's grapes.
grapes.
Okay. By the way, this was an
Grapes
incredible.
squished by the feet of Lucille Ball.
Yes, absolutely. If you don't know that I Love Lucy episode, it's a classic. Or the popular viral meme from like 15 years ago. Do you remember? It was the news lady, and it was a news clip, and she was. Oh man, it's a newscaster, and they're doing one of those stop the grapes thing, and this lady starts stomping really fast, and she falls out of the barrel onto the ground, and off camera you just hear her going, oh,
No, and they didn't turn off the mic.
No, they didn't turn off the mic.
Oh,
and so
kill the sound. This poor girl.
This poor girl is just moaning and in so much pain
Because it hurts to fall out of a
She fell
barrel.
out of a barrel. So I hope some of you remember that classic clip that was going around. So this article, by the way, was written by Sarah E. Daniels, and it's a good academic paper called "Climate Change is Rapidly Altering Wine." So.
It's a little on the nose.
I know, yeah, there you go. Work on your title, Sarah. She's like, hey. So it's an agricultural product. The grapes used to make it are grown and harvested and intend to be fermented.
Yes.
You know, this means that wine production is vulnerable to the effects of climate change, from the tangible health of vines to the taste and the quality of the finished bottling they create. Right?
Yes.
So. Elizabeth M. Volkovich, Associate Professor of Forest and Conversation.
Is that of the North Delaware Volkovich?
Definitely. Absolutely. The North Delaware Volkovich, not the South Delaware.
Oh, we do not talk to the folks in the
You
South.
do not
because we. Just kidding, folks.
Oh,
Like we were going to make up a musical song in that moment.
Yeah, like no one I've
Ridiculous.
ever made up a musical on the fly.
Ridiculous.
Elizabeth M. Volkovich, Associate Professor of Forest and Conservation Sciences at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. She says, what's so cool about wine is their records are some of the longest written records on Earth.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that would make sense. They were making wine back in Roman days, weren't
Yes,
they?
exactly.
Yeah, in Greek
so
times even.
in Burgundy, France, records of harvest dates go back to the 1300s. For example, we can see that harvests recently are the earliest on record, meaning they are earlier than any harvest over the last 700 years.
Yeah.
So this is what's so cool about the study of wine is it's not only something that we're learning a lot how the planet's changing, but through wine creation and harvest records, they can now map and go, well, this is what's changing. And we have the data here because it dates back so far in history.
Because people have wanted to be drunk forever.
Yes, I'm so glad you picked up on that. I was like, this has been the thing that has tied us to the beginning of all of humanity.
The thing that makes you the same as Charlemagne
is the wine.
Wine.
100%.
Wow.
This goes all the way. Yeah, this is way back when. Wow. So when it comes to grapes, this Elizabeth Volkovich, she focuses on the Okanagan region of British Columbia and the areas of California.
Yeah.
And she often pulls together data from all over the world to collaborate extensively with colleagues in France. So that's where she's been getting all this information. Though much of this data has been drawn from secondary sources, climate historians recently used original archives, cross-checked against other physical testimonies and regional temperature and environmental statistics to compile 664 years worth of harvest dates.
664 years of harvest dates.
Yes, a lot. That's longer than we've been a podcast.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
'cause
it's
we've been
about a
podcast.
third.
Yeah.
It's about a third of the time that we've been on the air. So
God, we would have been kids back then.
we would have been really young back then. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to, this is a scientific paper, so I'm not
and
going
it's just so much science.
there's so much science in here.
But he's highlighted the pages.
I've highlighted the things.
Don't need to, the important things you're going to get.
Yes.
We're going to give you the top quality content.
Yes.
And not the low quality science.
No, only top quality content, no low quality science. Okay, but I highlighted a few of these things because during the study, I thought what was interesting is you would think when you hear this, you're like, okay, so it's getting hotter, so grapes and vines are dying, so wine's going to be not that great.
Right.
Some circumstances, yes.
Sure,
Certain regions, absolutely. But here's what's interesting. Okay. They have already altered the phenology each season in sugar to acid ratios in berries, says Wolkowicz.
Okay.
In warmer conditions, she says, grapes ripen quicker and more easily, which lowers their acidity and increases their sugar. If picked at the right time, resulting wines are fuller, softer, and fruitier with higher levels of alcohol.
So really, it just comes down to, does the farmer know, like, has the farmer adjusted to climate change or not?
Exactly.
Because if they have, you can get those grapes a little quicker.
Yes.
And have a better wine.
Yes.
But if you do it the way you did it last year,
it's disastrous.
Because things last year, they were a lot colder. It's a whole different.
Last year was
before climate change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every year we go up by 15 degrees.
15 degrees, right. And that'll continue until we're all fire monsters.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. No, but this is, you're right. It's all comes down to farming. And what I think is so interesting is I love the idea.
I love you too.
No, I love the idea of somebody sitting there and going like, we can all agree, like at a wine association, they're all sitting there and they're like, we can all agree that climate change is bad.
Right.
But man, is this wine great?
The Wine Growers Climate Change Association
is just sitting around and they're going,
they're pro climate change.
Silver lining. But it goes back to like our episode on the banana, the Gros Michel and the big banana. I was thinking about Big Mike, the Gros Michel. I was thinking about how we will live in a time. We're now in this era where certain things that are farmed and created, there will be a BC of wine. Like back then, wines tasted like this.
Right. And
then there'll be like an AD, like this is after the climate and the planet and everything kind of shifted and how crops and everything was adjusted for. Yeah. Not that we won't have a transition.
Right.
But there will be a time where certain things just grow and alter and change, and there'll be a reference and they'll say, it's interesting, actually, the wine and from 500 years ago is very different than the wine from today because they had to adjust. I just think that's fascinating that we're in the middle of that transition.
Here's the other thing about it, right? Yeah. So with climate change and with anything, it's adjusting on balance. It's not like, as we joked that this year was the year of climate change. Last year was normal.
Last year was not.
This year we're hot. Obviously, it's not the case.
Yeah, we're kidding.
It goes up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, right? And then just slowly, microscopically goes up a little more than it was going down. And that's the change, right?
Right.
So this tells you the importance of being a good farmer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it isn't that farmers didn't know when warm weather comes, you have to pick the grapes earlier.
Yeah.
Like the good ones, the good winemakers, they knew.
Yeah.
And they just did it. And they're like, sweet, we're getting more of these seasons where we can get the, we get the warm weather and the big grapes.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting about that is that kind of takes you back to people asking, like, why is wine so great in Burgundy,
in certain regions,
in Bordeaux, and and yes, some of it is what's in what's the ground, what's the grape, what's the temperature, what's the weather, what's the rest of it. But you have great weather in California, and it took the Californians quite a while to
figure it out,
sort of catch up. I mean, there's some really good wine here now.
Yeah,
still the best wines in the world are in Europe, but
absolutely.
But they've gotten better, and it's just like that's the bottom line. Is like, what's your experience? How much education and experience do you have doing this? And the really good farmers are, no matter what the conditions, going to probably pull out some sick wine.
Some sick wine. I want there to be a brand called Sick Wine.
Okay.
So
you got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Also starring Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball. There we go. So just to put it in perspective, the temperatures have climbed so much. Harvests now begin on an average of 13 days earlier than they did prior to 1988. So they've changed the entire harvest schedule significantly, by about 2 weeks. These aren't necessarily undesirable traits, they're saying, especially in places where grape cultivation is trickier in the face of cool temperatures. Warming does have the ability to create a situation in which some varieties may actually do better. So it's like it just goes back to the point that what's happening in the planet right now is that people are learning how to adjust.
Yeah, for
adjust
sure,
to
for
it.
sure.
And it's not to say that we're like, hey, and to my joke earlier about wineries sitting around and being like, hey, climate change ain't so bad. This wine's great. Well, of course, everybody, there actually is an organization, I forgot to bring it with me, but there's a wine association against climate change and environmental sustainability. They're trying to do everything to conserve water and to make sure that they do sustainable farming. And this is a big part of what I'm going to talk about, the certifications later, that you should be looking for. But I just thought this was an interesting thing to see, like how our planet shifting can change things for the better and worse. In some ways.
Totally.
It's just an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
But this was the thing that I saw and I read that I was like, I have to bring this in on the show.
Okay.
Because this person, the way they said it, I was like, this is why we made this show. By the way, look at how long this article is.
Yeah, it's a lot.
A lot of stuff. Okay.
The title's on the nose. The article's 7,000 words.
It's a lot of words.
I mean, come on.
Sarah, dumb it down for us.
Sarah, we're
Please.
Idiots. Would you let the morons
please,
talk?
Let the morons. I'm sure Sarah is tired of hearing that. That's for sure. So this was just a short little article that just said 30 wineries sign up for refillable wine bottle service in Oregon.
Okay.
So this was like a cool thing, right?
I mean, that's sustainable,
Yes.
baby.
So bringing a bit of European small-time organization across the pond, a U.S.-Dutch resident of Oregon is launching a startup to allow wine drinkers to bring bottles back to wineries for refills.
Yeah.
Right?
Good idea.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is what I loved about this. So this company is called Ravino. They collect, wash, and sanitize bottles before removing labels and returning them to wineries to be refilled. The design is imprinted with a leaf to help customers identify them, and they're also tailor-made to fit into existing automatic filling machines. So this came from
AFMs?
Yes, AFMs.
That's what they call them, right?
Automatic filling
in
machines.
In the business.
Yeah.
In the industry.
Yeah. You're well versed.
For the people who know about
Yeah. You can't talk inside baseball for, these people don't know.
Oh, you're right. You know what? Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm too much inside on this one.
Yeah, you got to speak to the common person.
I'll try to look.
It's just an automatic
filling machine.
Yeah, not AFMs.
Yeah,
okay,
that was a little much, wasn't it?
Yeah. So this is the quote from Keenan O'Hearn, co-founder of the startup. Keenan Ivory Waynes. No, Keenan O'Hearn, co-founder of the startup, which is Ravino, said, what we really identified is simplicity. We can't make it complicated for people to return things.
No.
We can't make it out of the way because they're just not going to do it.
Yeah. that is the most accurate statement.
That made me laugh out loud because it was somebody who works for a sustainable company, and he said, yeah, people just won't do it.
If you make it even a little bit hard,
they won't do it.
They won't do it.
They won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so such infrastructure like this exists in Europe, but in the U.S., this is an interesting fact. 765 million glass bottles are used every year in the wine industry. Only 1/3 are recycled.
Wow.
765 million glass bottles.
Wow.
So this company is like, somebody's just got to do the work.
It's a waste of energy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So somebody's just got to do the work. And this guy was like, people aren't going to do it. And so that made me, I just laughed out loud because I was like, that's kind of the mindset that a lot of these companies need to have, which is like,
that's the whole, that's our entire existence.
I got to make it easy
statement.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people will not do it unless it's easy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You get it.
I get it.
I get it.
Look, every
Veronica
time
gets it.
I walk up to the AFM to get myself a little bit of wine.
Again, no.
I say,
automatic filling machine.
God, I'm so sorry, everybody.
Again.
God.
Again.
I really apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I just, sometimes when I really know a thing, I just can't help it. That just, it's natural terminology. It just falls right into my mouth.
Right. Yeah. It does. So the very last piece, which I'm going to share right now, which is by an author that wrote on Biofriendly Planet by the name of Patricia Kemp. And she wrote an article that
I
said,
have not
she's relatively new, I think.
yet read a Patricia Kemp article. I'm embarrassed to say it.
Yeah. So
all right.
Her article said, A Wine Lover's Guide to Sustainable Winery Certifications. We just had a conversation about this the other day, right?
Yeah.
We were talking with Tara.
Yeah, we were.
We said you go into
Yeah, we know her, by the way.
Yes, we
Everybody.
do. We've met her before in real
We
life.
actually know the Tara McFatridge.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
We were talking with her, and we said, when you go into the grocery store And there's all sorts of labels on things, especially when you're trying to buy something sustainably or do something green. It gets a little like, what's the right choice? What do I do?
There's 7,000 different leaves or trees or check marks.
I don't know what this means. And
they're all green.
Is it anything?
None of them mean anything.
Is it anything, right?
Yes.
Like, is there actually a leaf growing on this bottle, or is this a certification?
Right.
You know?
Why are they making such hyper-realistic leaves and putting them on these labels?
Why are they doing that?
It makes me wonder, is there a leaf on this label?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I want to wipe it off.
Yes.
Instead of buying something sustainable.
Yes. So you go into the grocery store, you go into the wine store, wherever you're going to buy your vino, and you're looking, and the first thing you see is...
You speak Italian?
Sorry, I did it again, didn't I?
Jacob, this is mostly an American podcast.
I apologize. Mostly an American podcast. All right, I won't speak in Italian right now.
Thank you.
By the way, tangent.
But worth it.
Tangent.
Yeah.
So in high school, in choir, I had to learn a Italian aria, like to sing in choir.
Yeah.
So I learned it. And so it was always fun for me to pretend like I knew a little bit of Italian when I would say it.
Yeah.
So it was star vicino, no al bel idol che s'ama, el più vago diletto d'amor. And I would say that. And it sounds cool, right? Yeah. And I never forget, I met this Italian guy when Clayton was in the New York Film Academy.
Yeah.
His name was Laszlo. And I said, yeah, I know. I've been saying this for a year. I said it to him. And he goes, it's nonsense.
It's nonsense!
And I was like, he's like, yeah, it's like, I love this, I love that, I love, the way, the light, and he's like, but you're saying it in a way that doesn't sound like anything.
I love it.
Just shot me right down. And it's like, but he was like, by all means, keep saying it. If you
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
None of you white people have any idea.
Right. It was so
They were all
great.
very impressed.
Just so impressed. So impressed. But anyway, it was very funny because he just kind of froze and just said, it's nonsense. And I was like, thanks, Laszlo. Appreciate that. I'll never forget that moment. And then when I knew, stop trying to learn
how blunt
Italian.
that is.
Yeah, yes.
Nonsense.
What does it mean? Nonsense. He was a blunt guy. Yeah. Okay. So you go into the aisle at the grocery store, and it says organically certified wine.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
Oh, good. Thank God it's organically certified. I should buy it.
Okay.
Right?
Let's see.
Oh.
The term organic can have varying regulations depending on the country.
Oh, gosh.
In the United States, an organic certification for wine means the wine has been certified by the United States Department of Agriculture's National Organic Program, which has very strict regulations for grape growing and winemaking.
Oh, so it's real then. If it's in the U.S., if they say it's organic,
yes,
then it's real.
Yes.
Well, that's
so,
good.
for example, the use of synthetic fertilizers is completely prohibited.
Yes.
And any other materials used in the winemaking process must also be certified organic. Additionally, no sulfites are allowed in organic wines in the U.S.
Okay.
Now, if you're out of the U.S., you're
Are they
hosed.
spraying
No,
them
I'm
with?
kidding.
Are they spraying them with chemicals?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right.
Okay. So while the regulations for organic wine may differ slightly in other countries, the core principle remains the same. Okay.
love it.
So you can trust on that.
Okay.
Now this one I've never heard of this before in my life.
Okay. Let's get after it.
Biodynamic wine.
Wow.
What do you think that is?
Well, dynamic is like something that moves explosively,
Yes.
right? And bio would
Through
be,
your body,
would
through
be earth.
explosive diarrhea.
Yeah. So like
it's earth diarrhea wine.
earth movement wine.
Yeah, probably. Biodynamic winemaking goes beyond organic practices and takes more a holistic approach.
Okay.
However, some biodynamic practices are considered controversial as they incorporate elements considered to be unorthodox.
Okay.
I don't...
Okay.
Yeah, right? One of the
Okay.
unique aspects of biodynamic winemaking is the use of the moon calendar to guide the timing of pruning, watering, and picking. This is based on the belief the moon affects the grapes in wine. Additionally, biodynamic winemakers often incorporate nature in other ways, such as using farm animals for pest control or making their own fertilizers.
Interesting.
Very interesting, right?
Yeah.
When they said using farm animals, I thought they were using the farm animals to make the wine. And I was like,
That's I'm against this.
I
feel like
I don't
are the
think-
animals doing enough?
they're doing enough. I don't want to see a pig and they're like going...
You're already asking them to naturally fertilize,
Yeah.
to mow the lawns, to
do everything.
walk about and stomp and everything, to die one day so that I can eat them.
And then you're going to go out to Charlotte's Web and you're going to say, by the way, you guys are all going to start making wine out here.
Yeah.
So chop.
Grab your shears.
Yeah, we're going to go out in the fields and make some wine.
I don't know why you need shears for wine, but grab them.
You might need some shears. To receive biodynamic certification in the U.S., winemakers must have been farming biodynamically for at least 3 years. So you can't just pull it out of your tush.
Okay.
You got to really
have
be
some
committed.
experience. Some
right.
biodynamic winemaking experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, we've been making biodynamic wine for 200 years.
200 years.
So we're set. We're easy.
We are easy.
You can trust our wine. Jacob and Knowles.
And they do come from AFMs. I'm sorry.
Oh, God, Jacob.
I did it again.
Come on, here you go. Talking about vino. Like, now I'm doing it.
No, I'm doing it.
Oh, gosh.
A B Corporation as a winery certification. B Corporation certification is popular among European businesses, but you'll be also able to see it in the U.S. It combines environmental and social standards and is one of the most comprehensive programs available. Wineries that choose to become B Corps are committed to using low-impact farming methods and responsible resource management, as well as treating the workforce, community, and natural surroundings fairly and responsibly.
Okay. Hey.
Nice.
All
Way to go,
right.
B Corp.
Nice.
SIP certified wine. SIP.
Sip.
Uh-huh.
You can actually drink this wine.
Yeah, you can. All the others you can't drink. You
No,
can
they're
buy
not-
them and
yeah.
you can look at them. But
Yes. They're for storage and showing off.
yes.
Yep.
The SIP is Sustainability in Practice Winery Certification, was established in California, of course it was, in 2008 to celebrate wineries incorporating sustainable practices throughout their operations.
Oh.
So it's a SIP. To be SIP certified, winemakers are permitted to use some chemicals.
Okay, which ones?
I don't know.
We don't know. They didn't say.
They didn't say.
Oh, come on, Patricia. Give us the data.
Give us the data there.
Just kidding.
No, it's probably if you wanted to. Oh, well, wait a second. Hold on. There's a continuation here.
What? There's more?
Well, I don't know.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, it says, in addition to sustainable farming practices, the SIP certification places a strong emphasis on the ethical treatment of workers.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's nice.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Look, those cows, they're out there all day.
All day.
Making wine.
Making wine.
With the sheep and the pigs and the chickens.
All right, there's only 4 more left.
Okay.
I don't want to bore anybody here with I'm just listing things off. I mean, it's fun, right?
This is
We're
good.
Okay.
This is fascinating.
I'm having fun.
People need to know.
People need to know. Certified California Sustainable Wine Growing, the CCSW.
So California's just all over this thing.
Yeah. It sounds like the hippy dippy state that we live in.
Hippy dippy.
That makes wine is all about certifying to say we are sustainable, and they've created a lot of different certifications.
Yeah. I feel like folks in California want to show that they're better.
I think so.
And so they're like, hey, let's make an organization that shows that we're better.
Yeah, I feel like if you went over to France, we would have all these things, and they'd be like, we are to do all of these things. Our wine is the best in the world.
Wine has been doing this for the last 700 years.
Yeah, I've not have a need for your certification.
Oui.
It's all natural.
Natural. Au natural.
All natural.
Sans fromage.
Sans fromage. Certified California Sustainable Wine Growing, the CCSW certification is similar to the SIP certification because it recognizes wineries that have incorporated sustainable practices throughout their vineyards, wineries, and cellars, as well as their treatment of employees. However, and this is it.
This is where California steps it up a notch.
The CCSW certification takes a different approach to the use of chemicals.
Oh, do we like more?
Let's hear. There's a list of chemicals labeled as either red or yellow.
Okay.
CCSW certification prohibits the use of red-listed chemicals and requires justification for the yellow-listed products.
Okay.
So this is
because if I say because I want it, is that justification?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, you just So if you work at the CCSW and they go, no,
Yeah.
why have you included all of these yellow chemicals in your wines?
Because I had to.
Well, that's good enough for me. We'll sign off right now.
Try Jacob and Noel wines.
Sick wines.
Sick wines.
Because there's a little bit of yellow in them.
Yeah, they make you sick.
Yeah. So that would be all you'd have to do. You just have to justify it.
Okay.
So this certification is ideal for consumers looking for wineries conscious of water and energy consumption, as well as recycling efforts. So it sounds like this one's a good one.
I'm conscious of water and energy
Yeah.
consumption.
Yeah,
That's
you are.
fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is a term that we've all heard before in other areas. LEED, L-E-E-D.
Yes, of course.
Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design.
Yes.
So I think what would be really cool is if you went in and you saw a wine that had like all these certifications. You know what I mean? Like it had everything. Then you'd be like, well, these guys are doing it by the book.
Maybe our sick wine company could have all the certifications. That could be our whole thing.
Yeah. Certified wines.
Yeah.
LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, is a distinct certification from the ones mentioned above. Wineries can obtain this certification. Oh, is your mic acting up? I'm so sorry.
Sorry, guys. Okay, we're good.
You did it. Okay. Wineries can obtain this certification in addition to SIP or CCSW. SIP. This is because LEED is focused on the sustainable design of a building rather than the farming practices. The certification has specific requirements for winery buildings to be considered green or sustainable. So this has to do with the building and the structure that's making the wine.
Right.
So you can also have that certification.
I'm in.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you could have your cows making your wines.
Mm-hmm.
You could have sustainable grapes. Mm-hmm. You could have water conservation. But if your building is cranking out like, unbelievable wasted energy for no
Fart
reason,
gas.
fart gas, then you got to get your lead
On.
You
Yeah.
got to get your lead on.
Okay.
Now, this is because I live in California. I know the name of this certification because I've driven through the city and I've heard it said aloud before, Lodi.
Lodi.
And if you don't live
So
here...
is this the third or fourth California-based certificate? Fourth California-based certification.
A lot.
Jeepers.
Jeepers. We got a lot of regulations.
Man, we just. You have options in this state.
You do. So Lodi, if you were to not be from here, this is Lodi, you would think it was like
Lottie.
Yeah. But it's Lodi.
Hey, Lottie.
Hey, Lottie.
Yep.
Lodi Rules is a certification program originated in California. Surprise, surprise. It recognizes wineries in the United States that prioritize sustainable practices. To obtain the certification, wineries must meet standards in several areas. These include business management, human resources management, ecosystem management, soil management, water management, and pest management. Lodi Rules.
Excellent.
And then the very last one.
Yeah, there's one more?
Yeah, one more.
Okay.
Low Input Viticulture and Enology Certification, which stands for LIVE.
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 Yeah.
LIVE is a nonprofit organization focused on certifying Pacific Northwest wineries.
Finally.
Engaged in sustainable farming practices. In order to be certified, wineries must adhere to a checklist covering various aspects of their operations, such as vine planting, watering, and fertilization. The certification process also considers greenhouse gas emissions, energy usage, waste management, among other factors.
Okay.
By achieving LIVE certification, wineries can demonstrate their commitment to sustainable agriculture and environmental stewardship.
Oh,
There you go. So that's it.
that was great.
Yeah.
This is what you're looking for particularly if you're in California, to be on your wine bottles.
Yeah, and I mean, I would imagine that if you live in the United States, we're probably one of the only states making wines for the rest of the country, aren't we? I mean, are there wines in other states in the U.S.? They are, but
it's getting more. It's getting more
growing.
of a thing. It's definitely more of a thing elsewhere. Yeah,
But most of them are probably coming from here.
I think California is like the fancy Dan schmancy pants,
Always fancy.
Fancy dancy, hancy,
Fancy Dan
flance,
schmancy pants.
schmanz of the country. But no, they're making wines in lots of spots now in this country. Oh yeah, baby. Where you have sun and you have water.
Can I get a good Toledo, Ohio Pinot Noir? That's what I want.
Ooh, Toledo Pinot.
Toledo Pinot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course you could.
Okay.
Of course.
I won't rest until I get one.
And it's got to be the best.
The best.
I won't
Toledo
rest
Pinot.
until Toledo's the best. Yep.
Go to Idaho for some Merlot. So that was wine. I thought this
Go to
is...
Quebec for some Malbec.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Go up to Canada. Yeah, they got some good ones up there. But nothing rhymes with Grigio.
You're right.
You'd be correct.
You'd be correct.
If we were
Go
playing,
to Florida for Pinot Grigio.
if we were playing an improv game right now and I ended and we had to rhyme and I threw you Grigio, you'd be like,
Yeah.
son of a... So I saw these stories and it looks like that the wine companies are figuring out some creative things for our bottles, our packaging, way to help that out. It looks like the farmer and the agricultures are looking at ways that we can benefit from the changing in temperatures and adjust our farming and our agriculture, but they're also well aware that we need to mitigate climate change to prevent from any worsening of the situation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They care.
They care.
But they're adjusting.
They're adjusting.
This is the message. It's been our message, I think, pretty consistently for the last year or so, right?
Yeah.
You should care. You should do something to make it better.
Yeah.
but we are going to have to adjust. You have to also adjust.
Yeah.
You have to also take, when life gives you fast-growing grapes, you have to make better wine.
You got to make better wine. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what's happening right now, folks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does anybody in here, just as an adult question, does anybody in here
Anybody?
have a favorite kind of wine? Veronica, do you have a favorite kind of wine that you've ever had? Red or white? Do you like red or white?
The first time I drank wine was last year when we had our company dinner at Tom.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Tom Clock, blah, blah.
Yeah,
blah,
that's
blah,
not Tom Toledo.
So that was the first time I think I tried.
Did you have
real
red?
wine.
Did you
Real
have red?
wine.
It was red. Yeah, it was red because
It
we were having
was
a
red.
mistake.
I
Red.
can't- so
Did you like it?
It was okay.
It was okay.
It's okay.
It was fine.
It's not for
okay.
everybody. It's not for everybody. Not everybody likes
A
red.
little too bitter for me.
Okay, a little too bitter for you.
That's fair.
Not too
Okay.
bitter.
Yeah. Do
Okay.
you like red or white?
I like the wine that comes from a box.
Oh, okay. Like a good white Zinfandel from a box.
I like if my white Zinfandel looks pink,
Totally pink, and it comes out of a box.
coming out of a box. That's what I'm looking for in my wine.
I grew up in a household that definitely had white Zin box wine in
Box
our
wine,
house,
baby.
100%. And when I was young and underage, I put my mouth underneath it like that,
Hell yeah, you did.
and I went like this, and I was like, so gross, so gross.
I don't. Yeah, I was joking with some friends the other day when I was hanging out last Friday with a couple old fellas of mine,
Yeah.
and we were talking about wines.
Yeah.
And one of the jokes that two of us, Tyler knows wine. He's pretty good. So Tyler was down. But Justin and I were like, I mean, this person's sniffing a wine and saying, there's grapefruit notes. And I'm like, there's wine in here.
Right.
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know.
I know.
I can't. I'm sure it is good if someone says it's good, but honestly, I just don't want it to give me a headache.
Yeah, that's true. It is very
That's all I'm
headache-inducing
looking
if
for.
you're not careful.
Yeah.
There was a short chapter in my life when I was young, and I was learning about wines and drinks and whatnot. And I was like, ooh, I think it would be cool to become a sommelier and learn everything there is about wine and whatnot. But one thing I figured out very early on was I just didn't have the ability to distinguish between, like, my taste buds for wine in particular just didn't seem to pick up between the nuances, just like what you talked about. I would take a glass and I would be
nutty notes.
yeah, and I would be like, I can kinda.
Yeah.
But it was never one of those things that was like, oh, it's very clear. If
Yeah.
anything, I was lying. I was like, somebody would be like, can you smell the cinnamon and plum on that? And you're like,
so
yeah,
much cinnamon.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they'd be like,
it's plum delicious.
and they could be like, that is one of the most expensive glasses of wine. And I'd be like, in my back of my mind, I'd be like, kind of tastes like Charles Shaw, $2 Chuck.
Yeah. Which is I really enjoy it. I like
it's
that
great.
one
It's
quite a lot.
fine. It's fine.
$2 Chuck. As well.
$2 Chuck.
I actually, what I will say
Okay.
is when a person who does know wine,
I do enjoy that.
right, will give me wine with a certain meal that I'm having. When a sommelier says, so you're having that filet. Or
I do
you're
like
having
that.
whatever. This wine, you should give it a shot. I think you'll find that they pair.
Yeah.
Usually I can tell I like it.
Yes.
I don't know why I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it that's making me happy, but it's making me happy.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
true.
then I'm enjoying it.
I agree with you
That I like.
in that the person, if they're well-versed and they know what they're talking about and they say, you know what, you've ordered this, you should have this with it. I actually think that is always wonderful. And it doesn't matter if I can taste whatever the nuances are. It seems to work really well
I
paired
just
with
like
something.
the flavor.
Yeah, I do too.
That's really the only time that I really want wine anymore.
Yeah,
Honestly,
sure.
I'm usually not seeking it out.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to have a cider
Yeah,
or a beer.
yeah.
If I'm gonna enjoy a drink, or a vodka
Yeah.
tonic with a slice of orange.
Yeah.
Just to squeeze a little bit of orange in that bad boy and
Yeah.
throw it back.
Yeah, and well, I have a great plight with wine, which is, if you know me, one of my favorite things in the world is cold drinks. I love cold drinks. Everything has to be cold, ice cold.
And you like cold flavor.
I like cold flavor. I like cold things. Cold. My wife knows this. My children know this. I like things very cold. So between wines, I like red more than white. Well, you're not supposed to drink red cold. It's supposed to be room temperature.
Yes.
And white you drink cold, which I don't like as much.
Right.
So every time I have a glass of red wine, I'm like, I wish this was cold, but that's not allowed.
Yeah, I think you should do it.
So I think sangria is the only way.
I think you should stop listening to what the man wants you to do.
I refuse.
I think you should step up and you should fight the man, and you should put that red wine in the freezer and have like a little ice cube, like a lollipop of wine. That's what you should do.
I'm going to have Pinot Grigio lollipop.
Yes.
Not Pinot Grigio. Pinot Noir,
You should have
Merlot,
Noir
Cabernet
Pops.
Sauvignon.
Noir Pops.
Noir Pops. There
Yeah.
you go. Noir
should
Pops.
do it.
Noir Pops.
I'm in.
All right. That's it. That's going to be a part of Sick Wines.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it would be a fun exercise
that's a
to close
great
out the
topic.
podcast. Just talk about
Great.
wine. You know, there's a lot of wine drinkers listening to this show right now that learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and they're very upset that we don't drink enough wine.
I know.
And that
They're
we didn't-
furious.
Yeah, we
Furious.
just lost 6% of our audience.
So many. What I think is funny whenever you're like at a dinner party and somebody's been drinking red all night and then gradually their mouth gets more and more purple.
Yes.
And they get total purple mouth and they're talking to you and you're like,
man, you're bummed.
it's always so funny to me. All right, guys, that is the end of the Biofriendly Podcast this week. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you're sharing and telling everybody you know about the show. This episode we pulled from Biofriendly Planet because we have the goods. We got the sauce, baby. You want to learn about the environment? It's on that website, and we have constantly new and exciting and engaging writers coming and giving you that good stuff in our stable house of writers that do great stuff. We have cool contents. We have images of the day. We have all sorts of exciting different vantage points, and we have more things coming your way soon. They're going to be very exciting. So we're working on awesome stuff.
You guys are gonna be shocked.
Blow
And
your mind.
Your mind is gonna be blown in just a couple weeks when we surprise you.
Yes.
There's a surprise coming in.
There's a big surprise
massive
coming.
surprise. You're not gonna believe your ears.
You are going to be stunned.
I love how Veronica's like, "What surprise?" And then she's like, "Oh wait, yeah,
I know
this.
Yeah. So anyway, but that being said, we have been your beacon of light in a gloomy environment,
Bringing you top quality content and no scientific and what was the add-on? Did you write that down?
I didn't.
You did.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, I was thinking that'd be a good
That was a
tag.
good one. That was a
Top
good
quality
one.
content, not scientific nonsense.
you
Not
want-
bad science.
Okay,
Bad-
top quality-
It's stupid. I give up. Bringing you top quality content since 1823.
Oh my god! I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm
No.
willing to give it a shot if you
I'll
want
go
to
back.
end it. Okay.
I don't. No.
Forget it.
I don't want to talk about science on this show.
Okay. So mine next is science. Science without the stiffness.
Green without the groaning. We're talking about science, baby.
Science, baby. Green without groaning. Inspiring fear and love.
This show is about patience.
Oh, careful. You'll catch feelings.
Corn Dog Rogers and Kerosene Guy have had an epic, nonstop battle in my head since 1446.
There's no date. There's no date. Just a lifelong battle in your
A
head.
lifelong battle in my head.
There you go. But you got the names. I'm happy every time you get the names.
Okay. Partway there.
All right. Mine is "Will turn your enemies into friends." Is that it?
This show.
Oh, I did it or did the wrong one early. This show.
Yes, no, you're right.
Oh,
But
this show will turn your enemies into friends. I got to remember this show. Yeah.
We are all about the hooey.
Down with.
We are down with the hooey.
Down with it. Then this is the new one.
Yes.
Which is insulting
Yeah.
them and saying, "Don't bother to teach, we do it," or something like
Let
that.
us do the teaching because you are terrible at it.
Yeah, that's a good.
Okay,
that's a
here,
good.
let
tag.
me
That's an
say,
excellent.
let
tag.
me say this
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the most earnest
Yeah.
thing.
Please.
Let us do the teaching because you're terrible at it.
That's Jacob. That's
Thank-
that's so earnest. That's so earnest.
It's important to be earnest.
Yeah.
With that, Veronica says,
Happy nuggets and stop and smell the flowers.
"Oh, freak out!"
Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.